Welcome to the Teeth Chatters podcast, where we chat all about the correlation between oral health and systemic health. My name is Sarah Giuliano. I have been a registered dental hygienist for over a decade. Now I'm about to branch out from the dental chair into the community to all you beautiful, amazing people. Together, we can connect the body to the mouth through educational podcasts. So let's get this show started. Hello, my lovelies. I have this awesome guest with me today. Her name is Colette Murray. Colette has been in preventative dentistry since 2001. She's worked in private general practice and currently operates an independent mobile dental hygiene practice in the city of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. In the past several years, Colette has taken a special interest in the oral systemic health connection to further assist her clients that range from the ages of 3 to over 100 years of age. Colette is currently a member of the American Academy for Oral and Systemic Health, and she also participates in the mentorship of entrepreneurial dental hygienists starting their own independent practices. Colette serves as the project manager, author, and co-editor of the book, Get Your Spit Together. I recently had the pleasure of reading the book that Colette and her dental hygiene team had written, and it has impacted me significantly because I also have such a passion for oral and systemic health, which is why we do this podcast. So I am so excited to have my guest Colette here today. Colette Murray, it is an honor to have you on the show today as my guest speaker, and I am eager to hear all about your dental hygiene journey. So welcome, my new and lovely friend. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. How is it up in Canada? How's the weather?
It's actually really nice today. I'm looking out at sunny, a little windy, but sunny and pleasant.
After speaking to you, I know we had our Zoom meeting a while back, and I was so inspired by the fact that you had collaborated with some other dental hygienists and wrote a book called Get Your Spit Together. I love this title because you walk past it or see it maybe on Amazon. You're like, wait, that's intriguing. What is that all about? So even if you're not, it's so cute. Like even if you're not in the dental field and you just come across that title, it's like, wait, what does that mean? So
I'll have to say we're big on dad jokes around our place and puns and all that kind of stuff. So I started throwing it out there as a title, and I got lots of big eyes.
Sure.
And I thought, perfect.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's super catchy. So, like I said, it caught my eyes. So the title leaves you intrigued to read what is behind the cover. So that I think, like I said, even if you're not in the dental field, when you see that title, you're like, okay, what's this all about? So I had the honor of reading this book, and I thought it was fantastic.
Thank you.
But what I loved about it is even if you are a dental hygienist or a dental professional, or you're not, or just a non-dental professional, either way, it is so informative. There was some things in there I was like, oh my gosh, I want to research this a little bit more and understand about, and you have patients that come into your chair. It's amazing what we can recognize as dental professionals just by looking at their facial structures, the anatomy, and looking within their mouth and external. So it's just amazing. It tells a story.
Yeah, this topic is really quite fascinating, actually. And the funny thing is that chapter is called Orofacial Myofunctional Disorders. Now that's a real mouthful.
Yeah.
It is, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I just found it to be fascinating, and just really how each dental professional broke down each chapter. And I was just in awe of it. And I had a great time reading it.
Yeah, this was part of the book. When I reached out to some of the people that I was looking at to contribute, I was describing, my vision for the book and what I wanted, and they were like, "Well, is it for dental providers or is it for non-dental people?" And I said both. And there was a pause there because they were wondering how that we could do that, how we could achieve that. And
you did.
Yeah, with a little bit more discussion on it,
Right.
I think we realized that there are some dental professionals that could be doing better or
Mm-hmm.
want to do better, and this is a tool for them. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not only them, to help them help their clients.
Exactly.
So why not say, hey, there's some good stuff in this book. I
Sure.
don't have enough time right now to go into this, but read
Right.
this and let's talk more about it. I
Right.
mean, it's not just the basic stuff, but there is some basic stuff because
Mm-hmm.
there are non-dental readers that will read it, right?
And I
But
just,
there is also the orofacial myofunctional stuff. That's really, I mean, Anika, the author there, she says once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's so true,
it
right?
is so, no, it is so true. And again, once we see something, it's our obligation to do something about it.
Even just the awareness of it and getting
Yes.
that conversation going and just, let's hash it out. Let's flesh out what's going on here.
The more we know as professionals, speaking dental hygiene right now, the more we can recognize, the more we can educate, the more we can kind of narrow that gap between mind, body, oral health,
Well,
systemic health.
even just having that interprofessional collaboration and being
Mm-hmm.
able to possibly put together, give a piece of the puzzle to another primary care provider to say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is what we're seeing from a dental perspective, from an
Sure.
oral care perspective, and maybe you want to just, look a little bit more into that when it comes to something else that a person is struggling with, right? And you're kind of putting those two things together. And I know
Yeah.
that there's a big push right now in both Canada and the United States to really get that relationship going. I know that dental hygienists are on board whenever the
Mm-hmm.
medical community is ready, to be more
We're
collaborative.
waiting. Right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And it's interesting because I'm sure just by listening to you, talking to you, listening to how passionate you are, because especially if we're both very much similar in regards to, education, education, education. I feel as if we need, like you were saying as well, too, to get more dental professionals to carry on that passion as well, too. And you guys writing this book, I feel as if has kind of started that, which is great. Like, listen, we're a group of dental hygienists that we are on board with this, and here's how this like dry mouth can impact systemic health. Like, we are noticing this. Please get on board with us.
Oh, for sure. And these ladies, actually, I was so impressed by them. And I'll have to say that I didn't just randomly choose people. I
Sure,
was online on the community online, and I was seeing who is rising to the top here.
sure.
Who's putting themselves out there? Who wants to do more for their clients, for the dental community, and for the community at large? Who wants to um, just add more. And
Yeah,
these were the ones that stood out to me. So that's why I reached out to them. I mean, Lorraine Gambacor, she did the oral probiotics chapter. Like, mind blown. she she is doing great things and doing all kinds of writing and articles, and she is the go-to for me regarding oral probiotics and their benefit, and as an adjunct to someone's regime or their regimen that when they're struggling, then maybe this might be an option, right?
so after writing this book and collaborating with the other hygienists, has it at all changed your viewpoint at all in the dental industry?
Well, regarding fit or generally
In general, I mean,
in
just
general.
in general.
I kind of touched on this before where, I've always liked the education side of my
Mm-hmm.
profession. And
Mm-hmm.
I always appreciated that opportunity to see the light bulb go on with people and
Sure.
with my clients and to, I guess, get them motivated to do what I feel like they need to do.
Yes.
But after writing the book, I feel like just really getting into some other conversations and that oral systemic kind of side of it. I
Sure.
mean, when the pandemic hit, that was my goal. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do, while we have this 2 weeks to flatten the curve, let's dive into some oral systemic for continuing ed.
Sure.
And continuing education. And so, I got on to AOSH. It was actually, it was Anika who wrote chapter 5. She told me, get onto AOSH, check it out. And I was into the webinars there, and I was, like how people binge watch Netflix?
Yes, you were
binge watching AOSH webinars. Like, I could not get enough, I'm telling you.
Isn't it fascinating though? I just recently, about 8 months ago, got into like systemic health research and how it correlates with a lot of oral health. I'm blown away. And I said to myself, why didn't you do this sooner? Because I didn't know. I was so focused on oral health, periodontal disease, gingivitis, things like that. I wasn't just like, wow, like this is crazy how it's all correlated. I have yet, and I'm going to say this, I have yet to find a systemic health disease that I had researched that is not correlated to oral health at one point or another.
You know why that is?
Why?
Because most diseases are inflammation.
Yes, based
and fueled. And what is
the root cause of all disease?
What is C. gingivalis? It is an inflammatory little bug.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So yeah, it does make sense. It makes perfect sense. You're right on there.
And they're finding P. gingivalis in heart disease, Alzheimer's, autoimmune diseases. I mean, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And I just find it fascinating. Now I'm on this binge, how you binged your oral system. I am reading and just listening to podcasts all on inflammation, chronic inflammation, anywhere in the body. It doesn't matter. Anywhere there's chronic inflammation, there's disease. And that, again, is my opinion. But holy cow, our researchers and medical professionals backing that up. And that, to me, is incredible.
No, with any infectious disease, it's a lot about the host response, right?
Yes.
And so we have things that infect us. And does everyone get affected the same way?
No, of course not.
Some people die from COVID.
Yes.
Some hardly get sick at all. Why?
Right. Some get a sniffle and a cough and they don't even realize that they have it.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's, you have to look at the big picture for sure when you're looking at that oral systemic and making those, putting two and two together, I guess. We're kind of investigators as dental hygienists to some degree, I feel like.
Well, we are, and I don't know about you, but I know for me, it's so funny. I would see loads of patients and I wasn't always great with the patients' names at first. It takes some time, but I always remember their mouths. And I always remember what their mouth looked like 6 months before. I don't know. It's a gift that I have. And I would notice if there was oral health changes as soon as I sat in the chair, or if I started the cleaning and they had generalized bleeding. And I was like, wait a minute, this is you, I've been seeing you for 2 years. This is not your norm. What's going on? Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me more, because a lot of times too, when you ask your patients, this as well, any medical changes, well, why do you need to know? You're just cleaning my teeth. I love that line.
Yeah.
I'm always like, because I need to know. I have to know. Well, then no, I don't, and some patients just say, I know I don't have any medical changes. And then you get in there and you start the cleaning and you just notice something different. Oh yeah. By the way, I had a procedure done 2 weeks ago on my finger, let's just say. Oh, okay. Why are you on an antibiotic? Well, yeah, I'm on it. Okay. So you do have medical changes, or medication changes. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Oh, well, thanks, and it's just, they don't understand that. And again, we do spend a lot of time with our patients. I don't know about you, but I always spend at least 45 minutes to an hour with each patient. We can have such an impact on their lives because, for one, we can do a lot of the talking while we're cleaning their teeth. They kind of have to listen. And like I say, the more we know, the more we can educate them.
Well, I just had a new client this week,
Mm-hmm.
Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And I did an oral cancer screening on her. She's 65. She's like, what are you doing? I'm not giving you a massage.
No.
It's an oral cancer screening. She's like, pardon me? No one has ever done this to me before.
Yeah. And
Ever.
how many times have you heard patients say that to you? A lot.
My eyes got big and she's like, what?
Yeah.
I said, I'm sorry, but this should have been done. So now it's done and it's boring and yay, but still.
Well, and what's interesting though is what I love about that is the fact that your patient will always remember that you did that, and she's always going to want to see you.
She's already referred me 3 other patients.
Well, and that's just it. And that, I remember I used to, I'd get done with cleaning patients' teeth and they're like, I like you. I want to keep you. You really know your stuff. And it was just really, well, and I love when they say that because it's, I say, well, that's just my job. It's just, I'm doing my job. Yeah, exactly. And they look at you like, wow, you're this and that. No, I'm just educating you. Mm-hmm. And I do feel as if, again, as dental hygienists, we do have a lot of influence over our patients.
Oh, for sure. In that sense, how many times have you said, like, had someone say to you, well, the dentist comes in for like 2 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Like, yeah, but it's important.
Right. Exactly. But again, we are the educators. And I always, my boss, he was sweet. He always used to say to me, well, I know you're going to educate the heck out of them, so I don't need to. And he was right, because he would come in and he would do his exam, and obviously it was very thorough, but he had enough faith and trusting me to really do the education aspect of it all, because he knew that I knew what I was talking about, and he knew I was all about oral health education, as I still am. But I feel like right now where I'm at in my career is now I'm learning a lot more of that oral systemic health correlation. I'm learning a lot of that now. And now I want to try and branch out and communicate that through this podcast to reach others. That's my goal.
No, I love it. It's a great way to, just kind of discuss things that you may not have an opportunity just to discuss.
Right. Isn't it so interesting though? I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and I'm doing a lot of research now on oral systemic health, inflammation. And it's so interesting to listen to doctors as well as dentists, speak about the fact, when I was in school, I was only taught this, or when I was in school, I was only supposed to focus on this. And then they get out into the workforce, as we do as well too, as dental hygienists, and you get so fixated on flossing, brushing, but we were never taught to really look at things as a whole. So let's look at the person's health history on a broader spectrum. Okay, let's look at their diet. Okay, well, why do they have so many cavities? What are they drinking throughout the day? And they, like you said, they would touch on that a bit in school, but not, I feel, enough to really treat each person as a whole. Mm-hmm. And that to me is where my passion is, because we know that the mouth and the body are connected. And I think what you are doing, like I said, especially with your geriatric patients, especially those with special needs, is I feel as if educating their caregivers and maybe the medical professionals or nurses and stuff on staff, you're also expanding their knowledge as well too, and saying, well, I really should focus on this oral health aspect, or taking better care, or having them have better home care, because it's really going to help their systemic health.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but the baby boomers, mm-hmm. There's a lot of them. You've probably heard of that. Yeah. And they're all entering this age group where there's going to be things that come up and they're going to need more care. And there's just so many of them. And guess what? They've all many of them have afforded to have good dental insurance. And they've all got implants, crown and bridge, veneers. They've got full mouth of teeth and they're going into their 70s.
Wow.
And who's going to maintain all of this?
Yes.
Teeth.
Right. Exactly.
All these people.
Right.
So there's a paradigm shift right now, and we're focusing on that, especially in in Canada, especially what the pandemic sort of shone the light on what happens in some of the nursing homes and with some of the care and the overworked workers. God bless their hearts. They're doing the best that they can, but just everything, right? So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes in the next 10 to 20 years, because this demographic as well, I've done some studying, they will pay for quality and they want quality service.
Sure.
So they're going to demand that, and that's going to come down the pipe because they're going to want it. Long gone are the days of I'm going to get old and I'll probably get dentures.
I agree with you on the paradigm shift as well, too, because people I do feel are living longer. I think, medical research, dental research, everything is expanding. Doctors and dentists and medical professionals are starting to treat the body as a whole. And with that is creating more knowledge and education. And people are living longer because they're taking care of themselves, because they're saying, okay, not only is it diet related, but I need to exercise more. And not only is my oral health important, but if I take care of my oral health, it's going to help me stay healthier systemically. And that knowledge is power. And this is what I always say in my podcast. It's like, if we gain that knowledge, we know better, we do better. If we do better, we become better, and we become better, we live better. I mean, it's just, we're healthier as a whole.
Oh yeah. No, you're talking to the choir, preaching to the choir. But, I think a lot of your listeners are probably on board with that. It's just a matter of how do we implement that and ask the right questions of our clients to get the right answers and to really make a difference. One of the things that kind of spurred on the theme of the book was I was talking to some of my friends who had young kids and, having struggles with, we had to get 6 cavities filled and that kind of thing. And so I would ask, so what did the hygienist say?
Right.
Eat less sugar, brush more.
Oh God.
Huh?
I know.
And
you're like, no, I know.
So I
and
feel
it's
like
frustrating.
For sure. There's room for the providers to learn more and kind of think outside the box for the benefit of their clients, but also for the patients to ask the right questions, get more from their dental provider.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm struggling with this.
Right.
I'm doing the things you say. Why isn't it changing?
Right. Exactly.
A different way to go about it.
Which is why we as dental and medical professionals need to keep enhancing our education and our knowledge, because things are ever changing and evolving. And like I said, we need to stay up on that as well for our patients' sake. Because once they leave, you don't see them for 6 months.
Yeah.
And what you tell them, hopefully they want to retain and actually utilize that in their daily practice at home. So when you do see them 6 months later or 3 or 4 months later for a perio maintenance checkup, you want to see improvement. And they say, okay, I've implemented X, Y, and Z that you had asked me to do. Why is this not working? Okay, well, let's tweak this, or let's try and incorporate this now to see if maybe this will help as well too, till you get to the point where they have good, proper, optimal oral health care on their own.
Oh yeah.
That's our goal.
That's it. That's it in a nutshell, right? But when someone comes back and they're kind of got the same, nothing's really changed, I take that as a fail on my end, because number one, I probably haven't taught them enough so they don't know the significance, because it's not motivating them. For whatever reason.
Right.
Or I'm just like, I haven't inspired them. That's on me.
Right. No, and I understand that too. And I think we feel let down because like you said, we feel as if maybe we are failing our patients if we can't reach them properly. And we do carry a lot of that heavy load. I do believe, and being a dental hygienist, and you can agree or disagree, it's very rewarding to be a dental hygienist because we see a lot of things. We spend a lot of time with the patients in their mouth, but also too, it can be very emotionally exhausting as well as physically, and it's tough because we do kind of carry that load of why is this not working? What am I not educating my patient on? Or am I not doing enough? And we kind of tend to beat ourselves up a little bit more.
Yep.
Again,
I think you're right
preaching
there.
to the choir again.
Yeah. Well, you know what? As dental people in general, we're that A type, that A
Yes.
type personality.
We want perfection.
Yeah. We want to see results. We're results driven, and when we don't get the results, we kind of look at like, what did I do wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And what
Mm-hmm.
can I do better? So, I mean, it's just sort of the nature of who goes into the profession predominantly, I think, to that degree.
And I think, I mean, you can agree again or disagree with this statement, but I do feel like a lot of people get into their professions for the wrong reason. And when your heart isn't in it, it's hard to motivate our patients. And I feel as if when we are in medical dental professions, we do have that obligation to put our whole hearts into it because we're putting our patients' health at risk, and we need to educate them as much as possible. So we need to stay up on that as well. So after speaking to you, for the first time when we had first spoken, you talked to me about how you'd branched out of the dental office and started your own business. So what made you kind of branch out of being in the dental office and being a dental hygienist within general practice and branching out and starting your own business?
Well, a little bit of, I guess, background. I had graduated in 2001 from dental hygiene school in SciAst in Regina, Saskatchewan. So I don't know if you know much about Canada and geography and whatever, but we're over here in Western Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And after working in private practice for maybe about 10 years or so, my husband and I had decided to purchase a business that wasn't dental related, actually.
Oh.
And then suddenly I was all jazzed about business development, and it kind of became a new passion for me.
Mm.
So I found it to be really interesting. And I'd always kind of seen myself as being my own boss and maybe having a business one day. But of course, you go into the dental field and you're just kind of like, okay, I'm going to work in a dental office and that'll be what I do. But we did know that there were a few independent hygienists going out on their own. And that really intrigued me. And I thought, oh, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. But, I have to get my own clients, my own patients. And I don't know anything about business. And so once we had purchased this side business, I learned all about that stuff. And I thought, geez, maybe I can apply this to my dental profession and build a clientele and build a business. So that's kind of what I did.
I think that's amazing. And I think it's great that you took that risk and said, okay, I want to stay within the dental field. I want to help others. Like, obviously that's our dental profession, but how can I branch out and become more independent in my business? And I think that is fantastic. And I honor you for doing that because I think it's brave to just kind of break free and do it on your own. I think it's fantastic.
It's not for the faint of heart. I'll tell you, there's lots of tears and frustrating moments for sure as when you're it, basically, right? And if you're a solopreneur, for sure, you don't have a lot of people to kind of help you along the way. You muddle through. Now it's a little different, especially with social media, and there's a lot of independence and direct access practices popping up, so you can kind of gravitate to those people and brainstorm, struggles and challenges, but really you're kind of on your own. So,
and I think it's great. So tell me more what your focus is with your private practice.
So when I was trying to decide what to do, I was, doing a little market research, basically talking to people and saying, I'm thinking about going off on my own. And I was thinking about doing getting a clinic or the other option is to do mobile. And it was like, what?
That sounds fun.
That's the thing. So I got so much interest in the mobile side of it. And this is like 9 years ago. So
okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of there were a few that were out there doing it, but a lot of sort of people didn't know. I couldn't even imagine how you could do this in not a dental office, if you understand what I'm saying.
Sure.
So there was a lot of that first year, there was a lot of education, right? So I would have 0 clients in a week, some weeks, right?
Yeah.
But it takes time, right? To kind of build that and just educate people on what the difference is and what the benefit is of choosing that service over the traditional way. And people were open to it, and I just plugged along, and now I'm 9 years in and have a good practice going.
That's incredible. And I love your perseverance because, some people would be like, all right, I'm going to start a business. Wait, I don't, I don't have any patience. That said, I'm going to try something different. And I love the fact that you just kept trudging along, plugging along one step in front of the other. And look, now you have a successful practice. I think it's great. So do you work independently, or do you have staff members that are on board with you?
I am a one-man show currently.
Wow.
I
Wow. And you're a mother and a wife. God, you go, girl.
Yeah, I do have, I have an accountant and a bookkeeper and all those kind of supportive services. I've got, people that can help me with those things, but really I'm the only one doing direct patient care and the billing and all that stuff. So I'm getting to the point some days I feel like, I want someone else to do this, or I want someone else to do that. And
sure,
at some point I might be able to do that, but not quite.
Not right now, but you hopefully will be able to get to that point where you'll be able to do that. And I think it's great too, because and I know that when sometimes we get patients that come into the dental office, they get nervous, they get anxious, they just hate coming. They associate us with pain. You know that, I know that. So I think you having this mobile business, I think is fantastic. Do you feel as if that helps alleviate some of the anxiety for some of your clients, knowing that they are not coming into a dental office per se?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And especially with people who have trepidation about even just medical appointments, because medical is like dental. It's
sure
this environment, and there are some offices that are really kind of spa-like and fun and all the things, but still when you get into the office and you're in that kind of space, it's very clinical.
Sure.
And the anxiety goes up. So absolutely. And especially with kids who are nervous, I'm on their turf.
Sure.
I'm in their territory.
Right.
And you could take your time, and there's no one waiting in the waiting room. I mean, people are just going about their time until it's their turn, basically, right? So
yeah.
I do some home visits, but I also do, I go into seniors' homes because of the dementia care and special needs and all of that as well. I mean, just the obvious things where people can't get to a dental office, but absolutely, it brings the anxiety down. Sure. It brings my anxiety down.
Well, it does. Absolutely. I mean, you and I both know you have a patient that comes to the dental office, and let's say, they're wheelchair bound, or, like you say, Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that. I mean, you're coming to them in their space.
Exactly.
Which I'm sure does create a bit more anxiety maybe on your end, having to come into their space, but it's making them more comfortable, which again, once you start the procedure and the cleaning, it makes you a bit more relaxed as well too, knowing they're more comfortable.
Oh sure. I mean, when I go into a place I haven't been before, I'm like, okay, how are we going to set up here, and what are we going to do so that this is kind of like a safe space and an appropriate area to do my thing and that kind of thing. But yeah, once we get going, it's just all about them, and I just kind of do my thing.
And your patients, I'm sure, probably love you. And it's nice to be able to build that bond with them. I think that's fantastic as well.
Well, I remember in the dental office greeting some clients and some patients, and they come in and they'd immediately say, I don't want to be here.
Or you're like, thanks.
No offense, but I hate this. And it's hard to kind of go from there.
I know. It's like, we're off on a right start. Great.
Yeah, but in 9 years, I have to say, I haven't had anyone say that.
Well, that also speaks volumes to you and how you are as well. So that's fantastic though, and like I said, you're alleviating that anxiety or maybe that dental phobia that some of these patients may be having. And it just makes the relationship that you can have with your patient, the bond, stronger. I truly feel that.
Oh, you bet.
I think that
you're right.
I've always wanted to do something like that. And I thought that was a great idea. Where I live, though, is we cannot practice independently in New York. So I believe there are certain states that you can, but for most of the states, you really can't. So that would be very difficult to do, but it'd be neat to find a dentist, that maybe would want to be on board to do something like that as well too. But I love that.
There's only a handful of states, actually, from what I understand, that have completely independent.
Yep.
And some can be affiliated with a dentist and go out and do certain things, maybe restricted. But yeah, you're right. There's not too many that have as much access as we do.
Right. Yeah. And that's really nice, though, that you have that opportunity and sense of independence to be able to really build the practice and make it your own, which probably alleviates a lot of stress, I would say, on your end.
Oh, for sure. To be able to schedule your own appointment and spend more time on something, even though you didn't plan to.
Sure. Well,
let's go to your bathroom and see what you've got here. What are you using? How are you using it? Like,
sure.
You can't do that.
Right. You're right. And that's so true. And, like you said, you're coming into their space. So you get to know what kind of toothpaste they're using, or if they have a water pick, or let's say they have a water pick and they can't quite figure out how to use it. You can show them hands on, you can do it with them. And I think that that's fantastic too, in their space, in their environment. Going into like nursing home facilities and things like that, you really get to experience not only their oral health, but their systemic health as well.
Oh, yeah.
Firsthand, right? Because again, you're in their environment. So I think that that's incredible because I feel like you can deep dive into education with them and really almost treat them as a whole. I think that's great.
The education is actually the caregivers in a lot of those settings, especially, folks with cognitive issues, and that I do in-service training with some of the healthcare aides.
That's great.
At the places that I visit. And just thinking outside the box and kind of debunking myths with them goes a long way, and just giving them some confidence to get in there and do what they need to do for people, just by sort of tweaking the way they do it. It doesn't have to be the way they learned in school that one day that they learned oral care.
I think this book, Get Your Spit Together, is fabulous. I would highly recommend it to any dental professional as well as anybody else who is interested in oral health, which should be everybody.
And the systemic side too, right?
Absolutely.
And how
absolutely
relating to the whole thing. I mean, the title is Get Your Spit Together, and then subtitle, Your Saliva May Hold the Secret to Better Dental Checkups, right?
Right. So, absolutely.
I mean, it kind of says it all right there. But
I agree. Okay, so I want to close this podcast. I do have a final question for you. You ready? As a dental professional and speaking to the listeners of our podcast today who are not dental professionals, just explain why saliva is so important to our oral health as well as our overall health.
When it comes down to it, and this is kind of we're realizing this more and more in the dental field for sure, but the quality and the quantity of your spit, of your saliva, can make or break many things, especially your dental health.
I agree.
Right?
Yes.
There's just so much that goes into it, and you can go down the rabbit hole in any which direction, really.
Yes.
But if you can address the things that are missing, out of balance, non-existent, or too much,
right,
you can address those things and figure out where you need to be with it.
Yes.
And a lot of times it has to do with dry mouth.
Yes.
That's the one thing that we really that comes up a lot, is just the lack of saliva. And
absolutely. And you guys do such a fantastic job breaking down dry mouth in so many different aspects of the book. Yeah. I love that. And then the systemic health correlations.
Absolutely. In every chapter, there's, I mean, someone talks about dry mouth. It's just, the struggle is real.
Yes.
They say.
It is. Yeah. Well, I think this is phenomenal. And I definitely am going to recommend this book to all of my dental hygiene and dental friends, as well as those who are not. I'll keep this book out in my house so everybody can come and be like, ooh, what's this about? Check it out.
What is this book?
What is this book about? So we're going to close the podcast. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on today and just telling your truth and speaking about this great book, Get Your Spit Together, that you collaborated with several other hygienists to write, as well as your mobile business. I think it's fantastic. So a couple things. Where can our guests find you and find out more information about you, as well as your book and your business?
Oh, sure. So the book is available on Amazon.
Great.
In a paperback or ebook. If you have one of those cool e-readers, you can grab one electronically as well. And we do have a website that has a blog that's sort of based on the book.
Oh, great.
And that will keep going into the duration, just adding more and more as we kind of find out more and more about how saliva, quality and quantity of saliva can help your dental health.
Right.
And that is getyourspittogether.com.
Oh, great. That's it. I love that.
That's it.
That's an easy one to remember, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we also have an Instagram handle at Spit Matters, MATTERZ, Spit Matters.
Love that.
So three kind of ways to get informed.
This is great.
Online, offline, depending on what you prefer.
And what about your business?
My business?
Yes.
My mobile hygiene business. I am Access Dental Hygiene Services, and I service Calgary, Alberta, and surrounding area. Up here in Canada. I know a lot of your listeners are down in the States, but we're up here in Alberta.
Yeah.
And accessdhs.com is my website.
It's fantastic. I love what you're doing. I love your passion. I love the fact that you went out on your own and pursued a career in the dental hygiene field on your own, and that it's a very successful business. And I am honored to have you on as a guest, and I think it's fantastic. And it'd be fun at one point if we could get all the other dental hygienists that collaborated with this book, and we have like this great roundtable discussion.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
I would love to do that.
All about that.
Yeah, clearly.
So I'm sure that they would be happy. There's 4 of us up in Canada and 3 down in the States, and from what I can tell, I mean, everyone's just cooking with gas in their own way.
Yes.
In their profession and all the other stuff that they're doing. So I bet you they'd be on board with doing this. That would be lots of fun. We
could start our own little tribe podcast about oral and systemic health. Just these awesome power dental hygienists that are all about it. We're going to start a brand new wave here. I think it's great. But anyways, I just want to thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. And again, we will make sure that all the listeners have access to the websites that you gave us, where to find you, access to how to get your book. But other than that, you keep going, girl, because you rock. I'm so impressed by what you do. And I truly hope and aspire this podcast to be as successful as your business. So,
well, I appreciate it, and just love back to you as well. You're doing a great thing as well. You're in the right place right now.
I am, and we're growing every day, which is great. But thank you so much, and I really appreciate that. And any closing thoughts or anything that you'd like to say before we close the podcast?
You know, I really appreciate that you are doing something like this for the benefit of our clients and our patients, and for the benefit of your colleagues.
Yes.
I mean, any way that we can learn more about the things that can influence and better our practice for our patients.
Yes.
It's great what you're doing. And I really appreciate this opportunity to speak to you today. And you're a really good interviewer, and I didn't feel nearly as anxious or nervous as I did 2 minutes prior to coming on.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate this, and I hope you and your family have a lovely weekend.
Yes, same to you. Enjoy the spring weather.
Thank you.